Welcome to today's class, and I'm praying that we'll get maximum benefit out of today's class and that we'll leave here with one more tool with which to enjoy or live our lives. So today we are looking at identity theft, and the subject says how we lost our awareness of being gods. So if you are new to this class, this is a class of being. And being is just how you create the context of life that you live in. So how you create the context of life. There is no interpretation of life that is thrust on us. There is no interpretation of life that is inherently put there. Everything we are seeing in this world, what is actually happening is that we are creating it. But we are not aware that we are creating it. So this class has been on since January. We've gone to a number of series of classes and topics, and one of them is awareness. Being aware of how you have created what you are seeing. And when you become aware of how you created it, the next thing you want to ask yourself is, do I like what I created? Do I like what I created? Is it what I want? And if it is not what I want, what do I need to do? So, in previous classes before now, the thinking that somebody offended you and you are waiting for the person to say sorry or ask for forgiveness is unnatural. The offense, every offense that me or you or anybody is experiencing, we created the offense. So I know this may be hard for you if this is your first class. We created the offense that we are attributing to somebody and waiting for the person to come and tell us sorry. We created the offense. How can we create an offense and somebody should come and tell us sorry for what we created? So when we say we are gods, one context of it is that we are always creating. When we say music is good, we created the context in which the music is good. So those of us who have attended the class where we discussed, I've forgotten the name of the woman, the Frankenstein idea of filters. This lady writing for New York Times says, when you go into a dating app, you start selecting. There might be 3 million persons there. Now you start creating the kind of person you want for a wife or a husband. So you say she should be fair, okay? She should be black. She should come from India. She should be 7 feet tall or 30 feet tall. When you've ticked all the filters, you now press search. When you press search, life gives you the options that you have ticked. Now, those of us who were in that class and who remember this topic very well, so when you have ticked the context, the app will now give you the available number of women who meet the criteria. So the lady said, many of us are complaining about the output that the app is giving, forgetting that the context of the output, the criteria, the filters, we chose them. And in the book Frankenstein, the person created, at the end of the day, a monster. So sometimes we create even situations that are not good to us. So if I have created a monster in front of me, and I don't want a monster. So what do you do in the dating app? You go back to the app, You deselect some. So there is no condition in your life that you cannot select and deselect. Context is decisive. It is you deciding the context with which you want to judge anything. So, but largely we have forgotten who we are completely. Now, the class, what we are looking at today, how we got to this place, how we forgot that these choices we are talking about, it is we that tick the boxes. And at any time, we can untick them. If pounded yam makes me angry, I can decide to change the context. From now on, pounded yam doesn't make me angry. Now, if this, I think Paul writes, he started saying for those of us who are Christian, if so offend you, if this one offend you, in that place it was explicit. Nothing offends everybody. So everyone chooses what should offend them. So that's why sometimes somebody will sneeze near you, you're angry. Another person says there's nothing in it. Somebody says something, you're angry, another person, you can't see the context. A friend of mine who is a pastor in Canada, and my classmates too, he wrote on my engineer's class of 89 today, this morning was up by 3 a.m. Today is my birthday. And as usual, Mr. X has asked me to bring my photograph for him to announce my birthday, for people to wish me happy birthday. He said, I am not, because of the situation in Nigeria, that the country has gone astray. Now, I don't want to go into the other details he wrote. That situation that he just painted, he created it. That situation of Nigeria he just painted, he created it. Now, but we forgot, like the lady said in Frankenstein, the result comes out and she says people are complaining, we don't get wives, we don't get husbands from dating apps. He says the filters that bring the results were ticked by us. The filters that make the organization good or bad, I am the one ticking it. So I want to look at why I have labeled this place that I'm working as an evil place. So I digged in into myself. I digged in into the filter, the boxes I ticked. If they don't greet me in the morning, then they are wicked people. If I greet my manager in the morning and he doesn't respond, then he's thinking ill of me. They don't pay 13th month salary, then, which means they are not good. So when you see all the context in which you decided that this organization is not worth working for, and you now see that I am the one that ticked them. But it doesn't. Now, what does it do to me when I have ticked those contexts, those filters? It makes me unproductive. So, like we have all lines in this class, those of us who have been coming here for a while, what do I want? Do I want to be unproductive or productive? Who am I being? So I want to be productive. If I want to be productive, let me expand the possibilities in the organization. Let me not think that if they do this to me, it's a bad organization. They do this to me, it's a good one. No, I untick this one and that makes them bad. Suddenly, a whole gust of energy to do the work comes inside me. I have created that environment. Now, but we forgot that we are the gods creating this context. There is a lecturer in a program called A Course in Miracle. So a student, just the way Oge is not here now, or maybe she will join later. Oge talked about the killings in Maiduguri and all that. I didn't want to, we gave responses from different, what I call different levels of consciousness. Like Michael said in his own, said, I don't want to go this thing. Now, There is a level of consciousness where that story that Oge wrote, she created it. Maybe she will listen to it later. So don't worry, it's going to challenge your thinking. Everything you believed about life, you believed about yourself. So this lady went to the lecturer in A Course in Miracle. What do you say? You say, I'm the one creating my circumstances. The hurricane that happened in Florida last week wiped away a whole family. The lecturer now looked at him and said, looked at her, said, that story that you just told never existed. Ah! The woman just threw up this thing. That story that you just told never existed. You created it. So this is by way of introduction. So we'll go into the class for those of us that are coming for the first time. It's a discussion class. There's nothing to lecture. It's a discussion class, and the articles have been sent beforehand. So we bring in and we learn from one another. When I listen to other people, I get a lot of insights, a lot from different angles, from different creation. We all create the class. So identity theft, starting with any of the articles, but maybe fly, eagle, fly. Who wants to just help us in 2, 3 minutes or 5 minutes? Tell us what the PowerPoint slide, fly, eagle, fly is all about. The floor is open. Remember, the more you talk, the more you learn. You don't want to be the only learner. So there are 2 articles, fly, eagle, fly, and the second one is identity theft. So, okay, maybe you don't. Okay, Mr. Adunayo, your hand is up. Go ahead. You are muted. Mr. Adunayo, you are muted.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning. Yeah.
Fly, go fly. I think we have earlier in the year we took a look at this, if I'm not mistaken. Either we discussed it or it was shared on the group, and then we read it. So the concept of fly, go fly, was really someone just telling a story, and it's an African tale. So it's about a farmer who went to he was searching for a lost calf, and then just telling the story of how they couldn't find it, and then later he searched, and eventually he came across um, a bird. He came across a bird, and then he took that bird home. But as at the time when he found it, it was an eagle chick. It was the egg of an eagle chick, and he took it home. And he took the eagle home and placed it among the chickens. He's a farmer, so he has his normal chickens, your normal hens. So he placed the the eagle chick with those other chickens. So over a period of time, the eagle grew with those chickens, and while he knew it was an eagle, it was trained to be a chicken because of the environment where he found itself. And so over a period of time, it will always be there as a chicken. And then um, one of his friends eventually came visiting. And when the person came visiting, the person saw it and said, but this is not a chicken. This is an eagle. What's this eagle looking for among the chickens? So, and the farmer said, no, of course, this is a chicken. You know, it walks like a chicken, it eats like a chicken, it thinks like a chicken. Of course, it's a chicken. So, which was interesting, a very interesting concept. I really enjoyed reading this again. So the friend said no, that I would to prove to him that this was not a chicken, that it will show that it's a bird. It's an eagle rather. So the farmer's friend say, well, let's catch it, let's catch the bird, and let's show you, let's prove that this is actually an eagle. So the man encouraged the eagle to say, look, you are not a chicken, you are an eagle. You don't belong to the earth like these other chickens. You can't be pecking on things and living life like a chicken. So fly, fly. You are an eagle, fly. I hope I'm not taking too much time.
So go ahead.
All right, so he said fly, and then the eagle tried to fly, and then it jumped and then came back. So which means the environment, because while he tried to fly, he looked around, he saw the other chickens around him that were eating and all of that, and so it lost interest in flying and came back like a chicken, you know. So it didn't fly. So later, the man's the man's friend, in a bid to prove that this is an eagle and not a chicken. After a few days, he spent a few days with them. So he said, you know what? Um, just give me one more opportunity to show you that this is an eagle. And it's interesting because the friend was the one who saw the potential in that eagle. And we all require such people in our lives, people who, you know, who can see us and show us that potential. And for me, the learning I got from this was, I had a conversation with someone, yes, on Wednesday, no, on Thursday actually. And so she has a podcast, and since January she's been having this podcast, and she has been having conversation with people who are doing well in two sectors, transportation and energy sector. So every month she has an interview with one of them, and she decided I should be putting out weekly articles, and she has been consistent for 11 months. So I asked her, I said, from your interview, what has been the, because I was listening to Morgan Housel, and was talking about how luck is a very key component in people who are successful, that a lot of people do not capture that about the luck component. And we have this saying of saying that you need to be more hardworking, that your surface areas exposes you to more luck. But he said luck is a component you have nothing to do with. And one of the most interesting components of that is the environment where you are born, the parents that you have, the city you are born into. There's no surface area you could have done to get born into that family. So that's one of the most important aspects of who you eventually become. He said that between brothers, he said there's more there's more correlation of success with family than even with education. He said, so if your brother is tall and rich, that there's more chances that you will be rich than even tall, or you will be wealthy than even tall. That there's that much more correlation between being successful based on the environment you are born into. So that's the luck component. And she said that one thing she found that was consistent with all these people was, there was one person in their environment who they pattern their life around, who taught them about who taught them how to be courageous and brave. There was one person who, growing up, they looked at, who was brave, who was courageous, and who they patterned that. So they learned it from someone. They saw someone do it, and they saw that this was possible. And so they also took after that person. She said for the 11 people she has interviewed, that has been one consistent pattern. One person was able to teach them and show them that this is possible. You can achieve this. And so that's what I see in the friend. The friend saw that eagle and said, you have this capability. And so the friend, before dawn, went, took the chicken with the farmer to a mountain, and at that point in time, the eagle was now able to fly because the eagle was taken to the environment where eagles thrive. Eagles are not in farmers' houses. Eagles are in mountainous regions, conquering their environment. So he translated him from a position to where was his own environment. So there was no distractions, no chicken. The eagle was in an eagle environment, and there the eagle was able to fly. And I'm just paraphrasing, so I don't take too much time. But that's what I learned from it about, how your environment can really put you in a hole, and how what we are learning in being is being able to take a step back and begin to rewire the things that your environment may have wired into you, to begin to question and ask yourself, why do I think this way? Why do I consider this an important parameter? Why is this important to me? Why am I where I am? Can I be somewhere else? Can I be much better at life? Can I harness who I am as an individual? So these questions allow you to begin to think things deeply. The environment or your learnings or all that you have had since you were a child may have made you who you are now, but you had the opportunity to begin to rewrite those scripts for your own benefit. And that's what we could see in the life of the eagle. However, for the eagle, there was one person, and for us in this community, is these sessions. Having the opportunity to get access to these materials, and then every week coming together to test what it is that we think we know, the stories we have been telling ourselves over the years, the things that the scripts that we have written, the artificial intelligence that runs us without us even being aware. We have the opportunity to test it, and so we must fly. We must be like this eagle. We must look for opportunities to take off and be in environments that reflects the God likeness, and take off from those positions. That's what I learned from the article.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Adunayo. So that's a great introduction. So an open question to all of us. So how did the eagle lost its identity in the article or PowerPoint, fly, eagle, fly? How did the eagle lost its awareness of being an eagle? Maybe that will help us. How did the eagle lost it? So we are trying to trace who we are, who we have constructed ourselves to be, and what we now see as what is possible for us. So the floor is open.
Sir, the eagle lost it. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for the great introduction. The eagle lost it because of the environment now. Because what the eagle was seeing was the chicken. They were the chickens that were not flying. They were just, around. So he started seeing, the eagle saw itself in the eyes of the chicken that is the level where it's supposed to be. And that's the same thing that Odoyo has explained, that our environment make us. You understand? But I have a question. This is an animal, we know. But assuming he's a human being, because we will say, okay, animals don't think the way we have been created to think. So now, the friend that came made them to make this eagle to fly. Yeah. Even when he tried to fly the first time, he looked down, he fell back down because he felt that is where it's supposed to be. That was the mindset. So for we human beings, what if we don't meet the people or see anything that will make us to want to fly? Does it mean that people will remain in the environment where they have found themselves, their mindset is conditioned to smallness forever till they die? Because if we are talking about being who we are, if you take out what we hear from people who want to bring out the greatness in us, how would we achieve? How will the eagle fly? How would you achieve that greatness? How? So my own is a question now.
Okay, all right. So your question is noted. If you don't meet that person who will help you, who will point you to your potential, does it mean you are going to live at that level the rest of your life? Okay.
Yeah.
So I will take Michael. The question is here to be answered. Michael hand is up. Michael, the floor is yours.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, coach. Good morning,
Good morning.
everybody. Good morning, Mr. Odunayo. That was a good summary. Hopefully I won't talk for long. I want to comment on something Mr. Odunayo said, say something of my own, and try to answer Harriet's question. One, what I want to comment on what Mr. Odunayo said, he said the lady who does the podcast says among the 11 people she has interviewed, she has found a common theme, and that is the luck element. Each of them somehow had some element of luck, maybe in positioning, maybe in timing. I don't know. We need to look at that concept carefully. I'm speaking on that from the background of what we are trying to help ourselves become through this being class. We need to look at that concept carefully. Oftentimes, what people refer to as luck is what is it in developmental philosophy or psychology? What will I call it now? Is what is referred to as the concept of serendipity. The Bible itself says in the book of Ecclesiastes or Proverbs that time and chance happens to people. So that can be interpreted as a luck element. However, if we understand and accept the concept of the law of attraction, you will find out that what we often interpret as luck is related to that law, in the sense that timing, luck in positioning, is often not quite luck as we think of luck. It's more of an inexplicable occurrence. But if we have positioned ourselves properly prior to that, or have been trying to position ourselves properly prior to that, we are likely to find ourselves coming in contact with that luck, as against those who were not making that effort. That's a whole different thing altogether. But so let me not dwell too much on that. Now, comment of my own I want to make is this. If a coach made reference to a book last week, was it Mindset or Insight? I can't remember. I think it's either of the two. I think it's Mindset or is it Insight, written by a Stanford professor called Carol Dweck. He also made reference to another book, The Mind Made Prison. That's written by somebody called Matthew Tabataba, I think. If we can find the time to get and read those two books, we will get a very good insight as to the dynamics of the mind. So that is that. And it is often said, to come to Harriet's question, what of those who don't have somebody around them that can sort of steer their thinking? That's actually what we are trying to achieve in this being class. And that's what the whole concept of being gods is about. The ability to be able to self-generate. The ability to be able to, I don't want to use the word motivate. Motivation is almost like a psychological term that is commonly used. It's actually the ability to create the kind of consciousness we need to have to be able to get to where we need to get to. So yes, while having people around us is good, because it's often said that people are products, or living things, really, not just people, are products of a combination of heredity, environment, and conditioning. So while we can't deny that, if we have the ability to be able to self-generate, self-create, right, we'll find out with or without those people, we will get to where we desire to get to. Let me stop here for now.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. Thank you. So who else? Who wants to come in? We're all read the article. So the question is still open. So one of the things we've mentioned or identified.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning. Go ahead.
Okay. From Fly Eagle Fly, one of the things I noticed was a text that was used that took him to the cliff of the mountain where he could see the rivers as a snake crawling, like those things he saw as his normal environment. He began to see them as something that was little. So he had to climb higher for him to be able to soar with the wind, because the eagle does not just fly, the eagle soars with the wind. Like it goes with the tide of the wind. That's how, and it takes a very high height. So sometimes for us to actually fly, we need to upgrade our mindset where we are not seeing ourselves in that environment where that's the norm, the normal, your comfort zone, the normal states that you believe that you're supposed to be. When you begin to see yourself that you are more than this and you can actually do more, that's when you actually begin to fly, just like the eagle saw. So that's
Go
the
on.
comment I had on that.
All right, thank you. So
Thank
who
you,
has the
sir.
floor? Okay, thank you very much. Who has the floor is open. So one way we have identified is the environment. So the environment has stolen who we truly are. And we see things now from that who we are. Okay, Toast, the floor is yours.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
From the article on the identity, one of the ways we can begin to fly is we come to a point in our lives where we become dissatisfied with what we are, with our situation. And, like the prodigal son said, he came to his senses. So there's a point we come to our senses and say, no, I'm more than this. I cannot be on this level. So there is that dissatisfaction within us. And that dissatisfaction is now what will push us to want to fly. You look at yourself and say, no, this is not what I should be. This is not the position I should be now. So that dissatisfaction, I think, is a dissatisfaction within us. Is one of the things that will push us to fly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So dissatisfaction. So what creates that dissatisfaction? I don't know. Maybe the class will answer it. So we are, go on, Harold.
Good morning, Coach, and good morning, everybody. And,
good morning.
And I've listened to Dunayo, Michael, and everybody that has spoken. Very, very interesting. Now, this article, honestly, is defining one for all of us, because he talked about identity. I remember, who are you? Okay, so when faced with vicissitudes of life, they can overwhelm us so much that we forget who we are. Yeah, and it's not our fault, because what the article is saying that that we think in parts and not in whole, and these parts, they are the things that have been given to you from birth, society, your school, your parents. Remember going to secondary school, and mama, when they give you your pocket money, they say, keep her well, remember from the family, from where you come from, what the family you come from, poor family. So that has gone to your subconscious mind. You are coming from a poor family, and that is how you relate. In fact, when we were secondary school, body house, remember, we can identify the rich boys and the poor boys, because the rich boys, all the lawani that time, the parents, mama, I think that one, the mom is white, the dad is black. when they come every weekend like this with the car, first of all, you know, and they bring the provision, everybody knows, these guys are rich, and the seniors they want. So I mean, you know, these are the things that make you up. Just like the eagle, society has already labeled him chicken. You know, some especially class societies, you know, from you know, the rich kids and they just there, they know themselves. So this thing has really made us forget to. And the article said, you know, something about, you know, you thinking in parts and not in whole. That the whole, and when I started thinking about it, what is the whole? Okay, and the whole is what the Bible says about we. You know, we are both body, you know, soul, I mean spirit and soul, I mean mind, body, mind and spirit, you know. So, and if the three come together to for you to realize and start asking questions, who am I? You know, you go beyond what the society label you, and then that is when, like Sister Harriet is talking about, how about, you know, who we how do you know, or when will somebody actually come to your aid? You know, when I was in university, there was one Ekanka book I read about this thing, Paul Fisher, Far Country, and there the soldier, the guy had a notion of a country. When he was small, he was seeing that country, but when he became big and went to war and he was a soldier, he forgot about it until when he was shot and he was about to die. That was when he had a glimpse back of that country. So in other words, you see, so somewhere within us, our soul, our body, our spirit will say, look, there's something, you know, that is me, you know, and I need to realize it. And it is say when this teacher is ready, like Oge said, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. Somebody will come when you are ready. When that restlessness is in your soul, who am I? What am I supposed to do in this world? What is my purpose? When you start asking that question, the prodigal son did it. What am I doing here? You know, he said, instead of eating with pigs, let me go back to that country. I need to identify who I am. So there comes a time in the life of somebody when you want to say what he'll go beyond the physical environment to say, who am I? What is my purpose? And that is when, if he asks that question, he asks it deeply, we hear the voice, maybe the voice of God. He's talked about Moses and the voice that Moses had, you know. Well, I know it is God that talks to him. I don't know why they say he was talking to himself. That's a different thing entirely. But definitely there's a voice that will speak to you. You say, this is the way to go. Yeah, the Bible says you will hear a voice behind you telling you, this is the way to go. Walk ye it. What for me, my take is this. You know, society has labeled us everything, but comes a time when we will be restless. Isaac told Esau, you know, when he was asking, there no more blessing, he said, yes, when you become restless, that is when you overcome. So there's a restlessness in the environment, in one. At that point in time, you will know it. You will start to ask questions. When you seek, you will find that person that will point you. In other words, and really, we cannot do it on our own. Somebody has to help and take us to that environment. You know, somebody is there. Somebody, they say, follow who know road. Yeah, so somehow, when you are at that crossroad, who know road will definitely come. God will send somebody down, or just like, you know, if you look at everyone, Moses had his own, you know, assistant, somebody who helped. The prodigal son had to go back to the father, but definitely the environment, somebody will take you up. Like they talk about the elements, even the sun in that the eagle, the sun also played an environment in the elements. When they talked about the first ray of the sun coming in, you know, has that motivating factor to actually, you know, spur the eagle towards soaring, you know, with the wind. But something will definitely come that will spur you on to get that identity that is your initial natural calling.
Okay, thank you very much. So, is there anybody that wants to talk? Okay. All right. Okay, while I wait for the next hand to be up, So the two articles show us how we have been programmed largely. Some by environment, and it's not all environment. What we have also taught ourselves. So what we have taught ourselves. So when we did the subject, being the cause of everything in your life. Now, there is no situation in our life that we are not the cause. No, there is no situation in our lives. Now, as gods, all of what being is about is that we are establishing a context. Yesterday, I was at Benin Airport. I returned to Lagos yesterday from Sapele. And at the airport yesterday, so I arrived early, 2 hours before the flight. So different people were just passing me. So somebody will just pass, my mind will just make 1 minute. See that woman, see the way you look. I will say to myself, that thing that you just said doesn't exist. If those of us who were in the Franklin filters class, there is no better explanation. It is your filters that are producing these results. So there is no way, there is nobody that does not look at this world through filters. I was in a man in Sapele during my trip to Sapele last week. Okay, this week. And I was in his office there and a call came. And on the other side, I don't know whether he's client or contract or whatever. And that guy was talking. He said, just see, his calls are always annoying. Now, I was looking at him and I was asking myself, should I ask him a coaching question or should I just ignore? Because that call that is annoying, he's unaware that he's the one causing the annoyance. He has put a filter how he wants to be talked to. He said, remember, that guy is a site project engineer. He always talks and he talks to, no, you have put in your filter. Remember that filter listing. In every dating app, you are the one that ticked what you want as a wife or husband. Now, the app does not decide for you. Life does not tell you what you are angry and make you angry. Life does not tell you what is possible for you. So if the eagle were taken to the cliff of a mountain and it looked at it, oh more, where is this? Because all of interpretation is where? It's here. In the external, there is nothing happening. All neutral. But we look at it and we go there and we interpret. So while in Sapele, my younger brother's friend who is about building a hotel, we had to go and see the land where he wants to build a hotel. When I saw the land, there is no hotel in the land. I said to my younger brother, I said, this is where Dan chose to build a hotel. I said, isn't it funny that life is internal? He's seeing a hotel in this plot of land that there is no value to me. Now, all lands are neutral. Some persons will come, they are ready to break an existing 5-story building to put something there. What they are seeing. I remember when I was living off Admiralty, Lekki Phase 1. The current place where Access Bank is now in Admiralty, there was a fine duplex there. Then one day, after Access Bank staff scouted Admiralty, they said that is the best location. Then they negotiated with the owner, paid off the owner to park, and brought down the entire building and started building Access Bank. Now, it is from where was Access Bank seeing a bank there? From a set of parameters, a given context. Now, we look at something sometimes, we say there is no future. That there is no future has nothing to do with what we are looking at. It has everything to do with who we are. If we know how to look inward, so my younger brother's friend, look, If I show you the images of the hotel he wants to put there, 5-star in Sapele, he is seeing a hotel. I am not seeing a hotel. We are always seeing who we are. So the 12 spies went to spy the promised land. 10 just from where were they seeing the giants? Omo, we were like caterpillars in the grasshoppers. They saw themselves. Now that is who they were. You can never see beyond who you are. Now, the awareness we are trying to create in this class, when you look at your situation at work, it is looking like hell. Now, this class says you have created the hell. You are responsible for the context that is producing hell. I like the analogy of the dating app. The woman says, the lady who wrote the article says, if you are getting an outcome in the app that you don't like, go back to the filters you ticked. There is a way you can tick and tick. What the app will come out with will frighten you. You know, see these ugly women when they come out. Go and check. What is her name again? You see, go and check the filters you ticked. It is the filters that you use to create what is possible. It is the filters you use to create what is impossible. It is the filters that you use to create a relationship that you like and a relationship that you don't like. If you know how powerful you are as a human being, you know how to alter anytime I'm talking to Michael, I'm always angry. So why am I angry? He talks like this, he talks like this. Last week I quoted this Romans 5:14. Until the law, there was no sin. Until you tick the filter, that thing was not an offense. So, okay, this is what Michael does, and I want Michael as my friend. The class, one of the most powerful classes, which series of them we talked about, what do I want? If you start with what do I want, you will get it right 100% of the time. The summary of coaching is what do I want? Not what they are telling me. What do I want? I want this. But that is not what I'm experiencing right now. So you go to the context and your filters. From where am I seeing this thing? Yesterday when I was at the airport in Benin, I was even amazed at myself. I said, today Benin is changing you, this big class. I will just see this. Man, look at this guy. Looking so uncut. And I said, that uncut that you just used, into myself in the 2 hours. So I had a very wonderful experience of experiencing myself. That thing that you just said, that uncut, it is your filters. It is your filter. Look at his rough dada head. Hate men that it is not hate. I was the one that created it. Now I have the choice. Now, much of life, those of us who have been in the classes, what do you want? Starting with the end in mind. People live life with the end in the future. This is not at the beginning of being. I said being is not goal setting. Being is not where I'm going to. Being is where I am coming from. It is a reverse of goal setting. Goal setting, the goal is futuristic. In being, this is where I am coming from. I have rearranged my context. And when I remove this thing, the image changed, the image of the organization changed, the image of the relationship changed. Now it's only me that can do that. They're telling me sorry, won't do it. It's ephemeral. But when I realize this situation I created, now it will amaze you. The most, you see, to invert, to bring us to what we really are is God. In fact, I said to myself, I said, I don't think we understand what it means to be born again in the sense of being born again. Because the guy said, he asked Jesus, and the man, see that we should enter our mother's womb and get born again. Because we see life from a particular way. We see, just see how they are killing these people. Just see how this thing is terrible. That terrible, you created it. That joy, you created it. The sadness, you created it. I said, a woman in Lekki Phase 1 was reading my book, Realizing Mental Resilience. She was only in chapter 6. And she called her sister that they've not spoken for 12 years in Warri. She said to me, said she was scared. After she had called the sister picked, and the sister was shocked. The next day, even the woman we met at Chevron one day, said, are you sure what you wrote in that book doesn't hypnotize one? He said, I cannot believe. He said, well, they separated 12 years ago in Warri and they've not spoken to one another. I cannot believe that suddenly I go to the place in reading the book that nobody offended me. I created the offense. The filters that decide what I see. We'll be looking at the same thing. Looking at a land, somebody is seeing a 5-star hotel. Why? There is a hotel in him. There's no hotel in me. He has a hotel in him. I don't have a hotel in me. The two of us are seeing who we are. When somebody says something is possible, he has possibility in him. I have fear in me. And I can't see. So I can be the eaglet taken to the cliff, the cliff of the mountain, and I'm looking. Last week I was saying here, there is a jailbreak, Kuje prison. The prisoners, many ran away. What? Up to nearly 100 came back. When they got to the city of Abuja, it was scary. Their brain could not interpret even what a city is. I don't know how many things we take for granted. If you look at the footnotes on the article I shared, the main tribe of Ethiopia, when they brought a photograph to them, they were just looking. They don't know what a photograph is. If you have been trained and wired to see, for us now, we know what a photograph is. How many of us have watched animals on YouTube? They are looking at another animal. They don't know what a mirror is. Or seeing. You can do a lot of this thing. The eyes does not see what is there. The eyes project what is here. That's psychology. The eyes project what is here. The eyes doesn't see what is there. Albert Einstein says, reality is an illusion, a very persistent one. You will think that you are seeing who you are. You are the mirror you are seeing. You are the hatred you are seeing. You are the dysfunctional organization. You are the dysfunctional organization you are seeing. Look, you are this thing. I kept thinking as I went back to my hotel room the first day when we came from inspecting this hotel land. There was no hotel in me. That is why I said this land is junk. David looked at Goliath. He said, what an opportunity to shine. This is something everybody, including the king, people have hid in their houses that there is one man called Goliath. He is making noise and he's a champion from the youth. And another person comes, he says, hey, what will be given to the man that will bring down this person? Hey, Yoruba says, I don't know, is he a wonke? I don't know how to speak Yoruba. What is going on? What will be given to the man that will bring down this thing you are calling Goliath? There was a bigger champion in him. And what we are learning is the awareness to see with the eyes that God originally gave us before environment, before conditioning. If you read the Infinite Being, Neville Goddard, he says, before you were conditioned, that's the language he used throughout chapter 1, 2, 3. He said, yourself before you were conditioned, yourself after you were conditioned. When you decided your filters, you will just, there are people to do that when they just see some things. Impossible. Now they think the impossibility is out there. The impossibility is here. The impossibility is here. The trouble is here. The dysfunctional organization is here. The complaint about the nation is here. The complaint about the relationship is here. Now, once you can alter the context in which, from where the complaint is coming, you just see a new thing. A whole new world. What I'm telling you now is the summary of coaching. Nobody can tell you what is out there. The coach cannot tell you because there's nothing out there. The coach can only point you to the context that is creating your pain, your inadequacy, your suffering. It will help you. And there's a book that many of us are still waiting for in the class right now to be published by Tracy Gord's this thing, Unearthing Your Winning Strategy. All the context that decides your day-to-day living. Now you can unearth them. We don't see them buried in layers of beliefs, layers of culture, layers of identities that we have taken. I'll stop here. Queen, the floor is yours.
Good morning, sir. Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning. Yeah.
I just want to ask a question. From the write-up about fly, eagle, fly, they said the man spoke to the bird for quite a long period of time before he now let it go. So you said something about reconditioning the mind. Was that a kind of reconditioning the mind of the bird? Because the bird has been seeing the earth for a long period of time, but is it possible that he was trying to make it see the earth from a different perspective? That's my question, sir.
Okay. Well, for me to give a quick response, if anybody wants to respond, please raise your hand. But when he says, you are not a chicken, now it is reconditioning. You are an ego. Now, you know what? That book, that's the PowerPoint slides, is for nursery schools in Ghana. Christopher, who wrote the book, is a Ghanaian. He wrote the book to teach children how we became what we are today in the aftermath of colonialism. That's what that book is. You go and read what brought about the book on Amazon. That colonialism turned us into slaves. And to this day, we have not been able to see ourselves differently. And so they start using it in nursery schools in Ghana to help create a new awareness that, look, this person is my master and I am a servant to this person. Michael, the floor is yours.
Okay, to give a quick answer, you have essentially answered it. To be more precise, to maybe try and narrow it down a bit more. The farmer's friend was firstly on conditioning the eagle's mind. The eagle's mind by the environment had been conditioned to function like that of a chicken. So he was first of all on conditioning it. That is why I was telling the eagle, you are an eagle, you are an eagle. He had to remove his mind away from being a chicken. And then the next step was to encourage it to do what an eagle does. And that was the part of taking it to the mountain. It wasn't just a change of environment, it was a change of perception. To take naturally, when the eagle will get to the mountain, the wind, the air in the mountain area is different in all qualities, right? And deep down, I made reference to a book earlier on mindset by Carol Dweck, I think. At that point, the eagle starts to perceive what it really is, which, for example, many of us are beginning to perceive through this being class that, oh, really, we are not set in concrete in our whatever. We can actually transform, right? And then the eagle takes off. And maybe after the first few flaps of its wings, it realizes that really, I can do this, I'm doing this. And well, if we were to continue to tell the story, it will realize after some time that indeed, I am an eagle. How come I was living like a chicken all this while? So that's my quick answer to that.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you. Who else wants to comment, wants to ask a question from the two articles?
Yes, sir. Sir, can we please look at this statement that says,
okay,
our real identity is spiritual?
Yeah,
what we are saying. Yeah, you can take it up from there. Real identity is spiritual, and also that our mind is very powerful and does not lose its its force, or what did they write there? So yeah, let's discuss those aspects, please.
Okay. Harold, Michael, I don't know which of you want to go.
Yeah, I think I'll go first of all, and it says
Okay.
that I said it when I talked about that the society, they make us think in parts. And that's what that book said, the article said. Make us think in parts. And you need to think in whole. And the whole is that you are spiritually, a body, spirit, and soul. In fact, which is, and when you think, by the time you start thinking of the whole, what are the things that happen? The I am. He talked about the I am. In the period of contemplation, you come to realize who you are. The I am. You need to know that you are not just body, but you are spirit and soul. That is when realization comes in. The self-realization of who you are. We sort of create, enabling factors that will make you start, just like the prodigal son. The prodigal son. There's something that is very interesting about that thing. He said that only very few will realize their identity and want to go back home. Very few. Some people will say, it don't matter. But because you are the cares and vicissitudes of life will always overwhelm you. But if you think, maybe 1 minute or 10 minutes, I talk about 10 minutes of contemplation, 10 minutes of prayer, 10 minutes of actually looking inwards every time, it will start unfolding and bringing you to realization of who you are. It's very important that we do that one, that contemplation, so that we begin
Let me ask you a question, Harold. You have
Yeah.
said this the second time. I wrote it when you first spoke. The care and vicissitudes of life can overwhelm you. Is that true?
Yes. It is. It's overwhelming at times, though. You see,
So check your position as God. Have you
okay.
created that overwhelm, or the overwhelm exists there?
Okay, good. That's a very nice question. Your ability, to rise above the challenges that you have, is very, very important, because some people, they just absorb it. They absorb everything. They don't know how to create space and time, create space to let go all those things that come in. So many things come into our mind, so many assignments, so many things you want to do at a point in time. So it's for us to sit down and plan and then know who and who to send those resources to. I'll give you, and it's more common with us, the black man. Okay, now my observation about, because of where I work, it's an international organization, and I see a lot of people coming in, black and white. So let me tell you, before the white man comes in to say he's traveling, he will first of all check the place I'm going to, how much it will cost me, what I will do, how much, and then do I have the resources? Then we plan this. And when he gets to that place, he gets to the station, and they say, is how much to go to Birmingham? They say it's £50. He will just pay. But the black man comes in there, I won't go Birmingham. When he won't come back, he won't even, it was okay. How much? 50. It would dare £50.
Sorry, I'm interjecting.
Yeah.
So who is creating the overwhelm?
It is the human being himself now, by virtue of not ability to organize your life, plan.
So where should you go to? Yourself. You are the one creating the overwhelm. You are the one creating.
Sometimes absorbing it and not giving it out to the things coming now. The same environment.
No. So when people say absorbing it, it looks like something is coming. Just Google, the eye is a projector, not the eye doesn't see what is there. The eye. It's like the story of the frog in the footnotes of the second article.
Yeah.
We have these eyes. The owl doesn't see well in the daytime. He waits for night. Now think about it. There has to be something in the programming of the all that in the night it's so bright. So which means what me and you really call darkness is not there. You need to just, it will take a while to settle on you. It is the eyes you have and I have that is deciding whether it is darkness or light. It is the programming that is creating what is possible for you or impossible. When I said I followed my younger brother to his side and I said, there is no hotel in me. The person who saw the hotel, there is a hotel in him. Now, constantly, look, I'm working on one of the books of Steven Pinker now, very long and mighty, that it will amaze you that what you see there doesn't exist. Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Now, the eyes, if the eyes decide what you see, doesn't that tell you that what you call a mountain, it is what is here that is creating the mountain? It looked years of programming. This thing won't sink into you one day. But as you begin to see, yesterday when I said I had a good experience experiencing myself at Benin Airport. Sunday, what you just said about the airport, you created it. I will go here again. This dissatisfaction that they moved the flight, you created it. Sorry for time, Harold. I'll come back to you. Let me take these two hands that are up. Michael, okay. The floor is yours.
Okay, good morning again. Just a quick answer to Harriet's question. Is it true that our real identity is spiritual? It is true. I will give you, I think from your previous submissions, I know you're a Christian. Apologies to those who are not Christians, but I'll give you two things from Christianity that tells us that. One, that God said in Genesis, in the book of Genesis, he said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. The Bible goes on to tell us somewhere else, I think in the book of John, says that God is a spirit. God is a spirit. So the created man who is in the image of God is the spirit man. And then when was this Zacchaeus who asked Jesus that, how can a man be born again? Can he enter into his mother's womb the second time? Jesus said, except a man be born again of the spirit and of water. So those three things, there are other references, but I'll just use those three things to tell you that it is true that our real identity is spiritual. The body we have that we see as the man is a physical body that is assembled at birth or from birth and disassembled from death when we are buried. Let's forget all this burial of entombing. If a body is not entombed, normally it will degrade and degenerate and disappear back into the ground. But the spirit, as the Bible tells us in the book of Ecclesiastes, it says the spirit goes back to God who gave it. So that's it. I will leave, let me leave the other issues for now.
All right, thank you. Harriet, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, it's not like I don't believe that we are spirits. You know, I just wanted more explanation on that we are spirits, which is fine, what has been explained, that our true identity is spiritual. Therefore, whatever we are doing in the natural should not actually determine who we should be. You understand? Because he has said it here that we are spiritual. So the I am that I am of God should be the same thing that should be in us. The I am that I am. Whether we hear anything negative or not, that I am that I am, we should try and make it to be our real life, that we are gods. God created us as gods in his own image. Yeah, so why I raised up my hand was when my husband was talking about how did he even put it? No, like as if created created the thing and the person is now taking it up. So I wanted to say that we are the creators. We are the ones that create the story of what we are going through. We are not taking it on from another person. That was why I raised up the hand. We are the ones creating the story. We are the ones making up whatever it is that we are going through. That was the reason why I actually raised up my hand. It was just as short as that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Odunayo, the floor is yours.
I can imagine what it's like in the Okagbari's household. The kind of ideas sharing. Hey, God, oh, you need to cut soap and learn. Oh. Well, sir. So, if there's anything I'm very grateful for these sessions is one of the things we have learned, which is that, that everyone's position from the context they're coming from is correct. So I think the question I want to ask is, because I know when Madam Harriet asked that question, of course she knows that she's a spirit. She wasn't asking. She was asking from a place of knowledge. She knows it's not. So the response. Sorry, sir. So the response about that is not the first time. I'm sure she has even taught this. She has taught it to people. So I don't think. So I know she knows that. So the question I want to ask is, I could as well have provided the kind of response that Mr. Michael provided, from that perspective of scripture. But our operating environment or the external environment, not everyone is coming from that context. So how do we distill this truth in a way and manner that the person, because before he gave the explanation, he had to, give a caveat and a disclaimer to those who are not Christians. But if that is truth, how do we distill it in a way that those who are not coming from our own context can understand that perspective? So yes, we know it. For those of us who are Christians, we can explain this from our sleep. We know we are spirit beings. We understand that is our identity. But that is our own operating environment from a religious perspective, which may not make sense to the person who, is not coming from that context. But if that is truth, what can we use from the environment that we can explain that perspective to other people? Now, I have a thought, but it would be good to hear. It would be good to hear, so that it's not that when we want to, because we're also learning to teach, or we're also learning not to teach, we're also learning to spread, so that we are not tanks that only store, but we are pipes that can also distill these things to our environment. And for me, one of the greatest things I'm taking from these sessions is that I can become that person who becomes an environment, because I'm someone's ancestor. I'm no longer looking at my ancestors. That time has passed. The moment I got married and I gave birth, I'm now an ancestor. So I'm happy that I can now become the ancestor that they will not abuse and say, that my ancestor no do work. And then make us day this level where we did. So how do we distill this truth in a manner that is understandable by other people who are not coming from that our operating context? It would be good to hear that, to hear how that will be explained.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Odunayo. Michael, the floor is yours.
Okay, Mr. Odunayo, my answer will only be partial. Partial in the sense that I do not know the concept of spirituality in certain other faiths. I know in some. I don't know in some. When I say some, for example, I don't know the concept in Islam. I've acquired a copy of the Quran sometime to learn a little bit more about Islam, but somehow I haven't gotten around to reading it. But the bottom line is this: the concept of spirituality is actually universal. It's actually universal. I only use the Christian perspective because I know that Madam Harriet can connect to that more readily. But in all faiths, in all practices of what will I call it? Of in all practices where the human being is studied and how to direct the life of the human being is studied, there is a baseline because all beliefs recognize the fact that eventually this thing we call ourselves, which is the body, the physical man, eventually it dies and is deposited in the ground or cremated or whatever, and it goes away. So what is that other thing that completes the person we call man? That is the spirit and the soul. Everybody knows about the spirit. Most faiths I know also know about the soul. So that concept is not strange. Where I cannot answer your question is if I am to explain to a Muslim, for example, how can I explain it? I may not know that because I don't understand the context of spirituality in Islam, but I believe there will be some sort of explanation. That's the little I can say.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. 8:26, if we still have some time. Now, okay, so spirits, let me bring it to the level of this thing so that it doesn't look so abstract. So I want to use Neville Goddard's explanation of what spirit is. It is the unconditioned self. We conditioned ourselves to be human beings. We conditioned ourselves. Neville Goddard said something which I perfectly agree with. He said the children of Israel couldn't really understand. They wanted, okay, Moses asked God, if I go to Pharaoh, who would I say send me? He says, tell them I am. I just am. I am not a man. I am not a woman. I am not powerful. I am not weak. I just am. I am formless. He said, when you hear Jehovah Jireh, he said, God had to condition it. He says, I am was too abstract. God has to say, okay, I am somebody who provides food. So that is what they could relate with. I am Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah whatever, Jehovah that, all the things we call names of God. He said, once you give it a name, you have conditioned it. For me to be, if I just say, if we are just walking today on the earth, so how do I know that this person, this Michael is Michael? You have to give him the name Michael. I've started conditioning him. Now he came formless. I conditioned him to be Michael. Then I keep conditioning him. Then one day he went to school and he said he studied civil engineering. Then I said he's a civil engineer. Of all the infinite possibilities that are available to him, he chose to be one. So at different times, God will now appear to the children of Israel. Say, okay, I am this. This is what you will be able to. For Peter to walk on water with Jesus, Jesus said, just say, look, Master, if it is you, bid me come. One of my friends, Toyo, said, what do you expect Jesus to do? He's not the one. He said, he knew he has no faith. He didn't have. He says, come, since you have challenged me. Then Peter lost his identity. But from where did Peter begin to sink? From here. Then his program kicked in. Human beings don't walk on water and the waves are coming. He was brought into a context where all things became possible to him. Suddenly, all programs were collapsed. And he started walking in water, on water. Then he saw the winds. If a fish in water and me that has been living on the land, who should in the water, who should be afraid? Is it me or the fish? It is me. My programming is land. The fish program is water. Water doesn't. He had been given a programming of a fish habits temporarily, but he forgot who he was. He went back to his default programming. Then he began to sink. that thing that you say is impossible, that impossibility has been created by you. That thing that is impossible, you created it. That wicked organization, you created it. Now, don't you have the right to create it? You have the full right. But then you should not complain. Just to know, own it. So I created Lagos as unlivable. Otherwise, without your creation, Lagos is not unlivable. I created this thing as useless. There's nothing wrong in it. That's why you are a God. But where there is something wrong in it, you forgot who you are. You forgot that you are the one who created it. You forgot that the relationship you label toxic, you created it. I didn't want, I remember a Zoom session I held 2021 when my book Realizing Mental Resilience just came out. A woman asked me, so are you saying we will never resign from a company? Yes, we resign. We resign when you want to. What are you going to do? You are going to, in your head, create the new organization as better than this one. But know that you are the one creating it. And that's just the responsibility. Not that Shell is inherently better than Chevron. You have to create it that this one is better than this. Then since I have created it, then I take that's what gods do. But being ignorant that we are gods, we think that the betterness is out there. Vic, the floor is yours. Dr. Vic.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Good morning, everybody. I don't know how to say my own situation because everything that is discussed here, I'm thinking about it and ruminating about it, and it's overwhelming me. Okay, I have a question to ask about the ego. The ego was with the hen or the chickens, and it has been feeding with the food of the chicken. Eagles don't eat what the chickens eat, but he has been conditioned in that moment to be behaving like chicken. So he has eaten a lot. He has added weight. So to fly was a kind of going to be difficult for the eagle. Is that why the man took him to the mountain? That over the time, the eagle shed some weight. I'm looking at it as a human being. There are certain things I have imbibed. I've lived with it. So for me to move on to where I am going to actually be acting as a god, there are so many things I need to shed. How can I get to that mental position to be, because it's easy to say, oh, we can do these things, we can, like the story of David and Goliath. There were many soldiers that were there. They were trained to kill Goliath. But when Goliath stood like his giant, the tower of his frame was so much that mentally they could not attack him. But the young David came. So there is something, I don't know how to reach to that thing that will make me overcome certain obstacles I see, that will launch me into that realm I want to be. I don't know if I'm making my myself.
You are making fantastic sense. You are making, okay. I've noted your question. Janice, your hand is up. The floor is yours. Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay, go ahead. Good morning.
I just want to try to answer Dr. Vic's question. Change begins from awareness. So first is being aware that, oh, you are God's. You can do this thing. If you are not aware, change cannot begin. So that is the first step. Do you believe it? Have you assimilated that, okay, oh, this thing they are saying is true? How does it relate? Let me give an example. When I was reading Tracy Goss's book, when he begins to say, it's your interpretation, you are, and I began to look at situations in my life. I begin to remember different situations. I remember one incident whereby I walked into a meeting and I saw a colleague and she just walked past me. And I was saying, oh, if I see her in the office, she's all WW. She sees me, she behaves as if she did not see me. That is how white people behave. And after like 15 minutes, she turned and she realized that I was not the one, because my normal uniform when I go to school is quite really big and I look really big in it. But because I was wearing my own clothes, I looked different. I was wearing more makeup. And she screamed. I could see it in her that she truly did not recognize I was the one. But I've already concluded, if I did not come from that interpretation, it wouldn't have taken 15 minutes for her to realize. Instead of me waiting for her to realize, because she passed me, she didn't greet me. Who said I couldn't have greeted her? Who said I couldn't have said, hi, how you doing? Where was it written that it is her that should recognize me and greet me? But because I was coming from that interpretation, I chose not to greet her. So it's when I began to think different scenarios like that, it made me understand that, yes, we act based on our interpretation. If you feel this person is doing this to me, you act based on that. But now that I have come to the realization, I have looked at, reflected, and realized that it is true. I believe this thing. I act. Because I am acting based, I've come to that awareness. It enabled me to now begin to practice not interpreting. Now I see everything as a conversation. So the first, where it begins, is awareness. When that ego went to that mountain, the ego was taken to that mountain because why? There is no how you will tell that ego that you're an ego. The ego need to be aware, need to be able to see, whoa, I'm not a chicken. I am an ego. That awareness, it will begin to make the ego want to know. So if I'm not a chicken and I'm an ego, the ego has become aware. You will become curious to know. So what is an ego supposed to be? That transformation begins to take place. Okay, an ego is supposed to fly high. An ego is not supposed to add this weight. An ego is not supposed to behave like that. It becomes easy. So the starting point is awareness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Janice. Okay, so if I look at back to this identity, page, I don't even know which page I am now. I don't know. Okay, there's one of the marked paragraphs there, and it says, the only cure for mistaken identity, I marked it, is to remember who you are. The one that which Janice is calling awareness. The only cure for a mistaken identity is to remember who you are. Now, so what happens sometimes is that the way God answers our prayers is to get us to the cliff. And we'll discover who we are. When the man kept saying, you are an eagle, you are an eagle, you are not a chicken. The eagle didn't really know what he was saying. Okay. When he let the wind swift take off the eagle just see the wings unlock and forever changed. I know many of us have read this, I don't know whether parable or story. A king who had a fine girl to give out looking for somebody looking for the man to give the girl to, took all the eligible bachelors who were applying to marry the girl to his pond, full of crocodiles. And when they got there, all of them, every one after the other, to marry the girl, you have to swim from the beginning of the pond to the end. And each man, they started wearing their shirts and turning away. What nonsense. Crocodiles will eat me because you have a fine girl. And while they were turning back, suddenly a man just pushed one man into the pond. And when he pushed the man just said, well, he struggled in the midst of crocodiles and got to the end. When he got to the end, came out of the pond. You will see the story online, the crocodile bachelor story. The man was breathing. He was looking at, he wasn't thinking of that he's going to marry the king's daughter. Who pushed me? Who pushed me? Now, it's in a number of books. Sometimes the way God will answer your prayer is to bring you to this place of being pushed. Now, he did it. He didn't know that the ability was in him all along. Now, sometimes you will really look at the situation. Sometimes when you are stripped bare, there's one message, Pastor Podju, I don't know, those of us who are Christian, but you said you have not reached a place where you found out that the abilities in you that you have never utilized. Now you just found out what programming has been dictating what is possible for you, not your abilities. Your ability is there. People who die, I don't know who wrote this book, The Saddest Place to Be is the Grave, where people just never actualize their potentials. Now, because they always go, the interpretation, this is not for me. I remember Harold talking earlier on, and I just was thinking, was really our parents telling. I remember when I was in Unity School, Agbaro, in Delta State. Before, as my dad is dropping me, remember the son of who you are. I don't want to hear this. I don't feel like follow the children of those rich people. I will not. I remember when my principal, they brought my dad in and they told him the offense I've committed. I thought my dad will now beg the principal. My dad just left me. I started rolling on the ground. I rolled on sand everywhere, crying. Some teachers came to go and help me beg the principal. My dad just tells me, remember the son of who you are. So what is all they are doing? We are conditioning ourselves. So I'm not the son of Okagbare. I'm not the son of Odunayo. So what does it mean to be the son of Ebekurede? It means like this. It means this. Yes, sometimes it could really be challenged. But when the awareness, look, I'll tell you, sometimes you need to listen to this thing over and over again. When you meet that thing that looks impossible, when you see how you created the impossibility, I keep saying, by the grace of God, let this book that we have been waiting for, Uncovering Your Winning Strategy, I pray we do a very good session of it in December before we run down this series of these classes. Now, once you are able to uncover the layers of beliefs that have produced this interpretation, you will set yourself free. 3 or 4, I can't remember, sometimes last month, when we did the awareness of being, when your awareness is increasing. No, there is nothing. Last Sunday, I was responding to something Oge said. I said, interpretation is automatic. There is nothing I've learned here that I would not have interpreted people who they were when I was at Benin Airport yesterday. Just see her, just see Bele, just see this, just see how he dressed naked. We will learn something next week on interpersonal relationship, how gods intermingle. Then you will know how to see the belly and see the head and see everything. Now, once you begin to see your role, as your awareness increases, you will say no. There is this book I recommended some months ago, Barefoot to Billionaire, John H. Johnson. Man, that guy, he doesn't see no the way I see no. You see, when they tell you no, say that does not mean that they don't want to give you the contract. From poverty, he died at the age of 82, leaving $8-something billion. Now he will sit down and he's consciously reinterpreting what his default programming is telling him. The awareness that his default programming gives this a meaning. He sits down. What do I want? What my default programming is telling me, or to reject it? He said he sits down. He rejects what the default programming is telling. Then a new door opens. All that we are trying to do in this class is increase our awareness of where our life is, our experience of life is coming from. As the experience increases, we begin to see that instantly we can turn adversarial situations to anything we want. If you want them adversarial, I don't know who was quoting me last week. I don't know whether it was Mr. Odunayo. If you want to kill somebody and you are a soldier, quickly create him an enemy. But know that you are the one that created him, because you, now where does it stem from? What do I want? Because I want to kill him. Like I said, the only way I will change, I'll be able to change job when I know I'm the one creating this one. I have to create that company. A is better than B. And there is nothing wrong in it. There is only something wrong when I'm not aware that I'm the one who created it. So I went again. At the introduction, I said, that killing, that murder that Oge described in Maiduguri, it didn't take place. We'll continue next week. It didn't take place. It was created by the narrator. Until you know how life has conditioned us to who we should not be, you won't know the gravity of the reinvention that you need to do to yourself. You will stop focusing on what anybody is doing to you, and you will start seeing what you are doing to yourself. If you fix what you are doing to yourself, the whole of life changes. Once the parameters in the filters are changed, the outcome in the filters, once you just untick a box that the person must be a Nigerian in the dating app, you just get 1,000 new girls added to the possibilities. Now, before now, it was so limited, but you forgot that you were the one that chose the filters. And every day, we are choosing filters. In our place of work, we are choosing filters. There are thousands of, if not millions of filters running many of us that we are unaware of. I don't like this. It's you that doesn't like Dada hair. It's you that said this one. It's you that said that one. It's you that created this one offensive. Do you have the right? You have the right to create it. But own it. That what is keeping me from Queen is not what Queen said. It is the parameter with which I said I should receive any word. So Dr. Vicky could look daunting, but if we get the foundation, we can make a lot of progress. If we just get the foundation. Now, I'm reading Steven Pinker now. Pinker, that thing that I'm seeing is really not there. Just think about how God, that some animals, nighttime is their daytime. Just think about it. You don't get anything out of it. Nighttime is their daytime. Now, but the external environment is the same. It doesn't change for anybody, but it's what the eyes with which we are seeing it is a program written in us. If this program enables us to see what we want to see. Now, as humans, the programs with which we are looking at life, that is the only place we can make any changes to our life. There's no other place. 8:49. Thank you for today. I hope if you have any question or comment, you are free to ask. This morning session has ended. I pray you got something today that you can work on, you can build on for the rest of the week. Charles Okoroa, for good morning, everyone. It's one thing to know we are gods, but it's another thing to believe. Belief has to do with overcoming impossibilities. Let me, I don't know Charles, I don't know, I'm seeing the name Charles Okoroa for in this program for the first time, so I don't know, maybe your previous attendance was under a different name. Well, let me see this. Just see the analogy of the dating
Sorry, sir.
app.
Let me make an introduction. Sorry. Let me make an
Go.
introduction. A
Okay.
friend I pulled in last week. I've been trying to pull him in since. I had to pull him in last
Oh,
week.
great. Okay, you are the one that
So we
pulled
joined
him in.
this. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Thank you very much.
Well done,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. This was more than a session. It's a revelation knowledge being dished out. Thank you, Shalom. Okay, so just look at, to simplify this creation. Now, so Charles, now I'm responding to your text there. Now, the artist is always creating. So Duka Sidiar is my friend. And every time I go to his house in VI, he will just throw some paints on the wall. And I was, what is this? This is Lagos in 1930. Yet they're always creating. Now, that thing they are saying, sometimes when you look at an artist's work, there's no meaning, but the artist tells you the meaning. And that thing, Duke sent some artwork to Dubai recently, nearly 300 million naira. Now, that thing, he's seeing meaning in it. He created it, he put the meaning. Now, in a dating app, you choose, if you have ever used a dating app, so I don't know, I've used. So you look, I'm looking for a lady. So she should be living in Leeds. Don't want to travel too far. I don't want it to be anything, when I get to the criteria, should she come from anywhere, I won't tick a box. If I want her to be near me, no, it must be in Leeds, it must be in Lekki, it must be in Lagos, it must be in Sapele. Okay. Should she be black or white? I said black. Should she be tall or short? I said short. Should she speak good English or only Yoruba? I said Yoruba. So the app goes in. There are 20 million people that I can date inside, 20 million girls. The app goes in, uses my creation to bring an outcome to me. That is the way life is lived. So the context that delivers to you the experience that you are getting, you selected it. That's the art of creation. You selected it, and when in this part, when we did this class, so there's the woman who wrote the article was talking about the Frankenstein. In Frankenstein, which was written, I don't know, 1823, it's a book written, is it 1820 or 1923? The person created a robot that became a monster. So sometimes when they print the results, we start seeing only 25 girls. None of them, this dating app, they know they work. See the ugly girls he bring. I am the one who set, when the app combined all my beliefs and selections, it came out with those girls. Now I can go back. The woman who, what's her name again? I put it on the group twice or three times. What the woman says, go back to your selection and unselect, deselect some of the criteria, deselect some of the criteria of your happiness, deselect some of the criteria of your, this criteria, every context in which you are living in right now, you selected it. And now some of them are bringing results that you don't like. So what do you want to do? Change the selections. You can change, not the outcome. The app will only give you outcomes that are based on your selections. Life will give you outcomes of who you are. Out there is nothing out there, Steven Pinkler, out there. But the app is giving you your selections. That is how you are creating. If you break down creation and being gods to this simple explanation, look, I'll tell you, by the grace of God, we'll be able, there's a book that some of us who have been coming, we are waiting, the woman is waiting to set to publish before the end of the year. Now you can see the myriads of selections that are possible in any given situation. Thank you very much. We'll stop here today. See you next Saturday.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Harold.
We appreciate all your inputs. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Weekend,
yeah.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. V. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Coach. Have a blessed week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aaron. Have a blessed week.
Thank you. Amen.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank
God
you, sir.
bless
Have a
you.
wonderful weekend, sir.
Thank you. You too.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.